A lot of anime fans like their anime translations as literal as possible. But are literal translations really the best way to go? I'm a professional anime translator and I say no. You may think that literal translations are better, but when you—
Shut up, baka! Literal translations are the only way to go!
Oh, hi, person who doesn't understand Japanese. Let's hear your very professional, very informed opinion about how translations should work.
Oh, you're so out of touch with anime fans, and you're old.
You know what? Fine, you win. I'm going to translate a scene from anime literally, and we'll see just how much better it is.
Yatta! Anata no ichiban!
Anata ga. Anyway, let's take a scene from one of my favorite anime, Retsuko. Oh, wait, actually, that's not its literal name. It's Aggressive Retsuko.
Better already!
Anyway, here's a typical scene where Retsuko is really stressed and she's trying to get her work done, but her annoying hippopotamus coworker keeps butting in and trying to be social. Okay. Means jikan means time, and since it's bookended with mo and nai, it means no more time. So let's fix that subtitle. Look good? Okay, next line. Okay, desho doesn't really mean anything on its own, but if desu basically means is, then desho means probably is. So let's fix that subtitle. How was that?
Well, that's a bad example because desu and desho don't really mean anything. You just said so yourself.
Okay, well, let's just not count that line and we'll move on to the next line. Okay, so she said Retsuko-chan, not Retsi, so we'll fix that. Then uchi means home or house, shashin means photograph, and ko means child. So the particle no acts sort of as an apostrophe s between those three words. So it becomes houses, child's, photograph. Then miru is a verb which means to see. So literally that whole sentence translates to—
Okay, wait. I appreciate that you put the chan back in, but see house's child's photograph isn't what she was really saying. She's not a caveman.
But there were no pronouns in that sentence. I can't literally translate it as do you want to see, because there was no anata or omae or kimi or any other you pronoun in there. Also, she wasn't asking if Retsuko wanted to see the photograph. That would be mitai. She used the plain version of miru, not mitai. So it's just plain see. But, well, let's just move on. Next line.
すみません。今急ぎで会議の資料を作らなくちゃいけなくて。
Sumimasen means a lot of things, but sorry is one of them. Ima means now. Isogi de means with haste. Kaigi means meaning, and shiryo means documents. It doesn't actually mean notes or minutes, it's more of a generic term. Tsukuranakucha ikenakute is a morphed version of the word tsukuru, which means to make. If you change the ru to ranakucha ikenai, that means must, so must make. And then if you change the i and nai to kute, then that basically acts as sort of like another verb is probably going to come after this, so it's kind of like and ... So let's fix that subtitle and make it nice and literal.
すみません。今急ぎで会議の資料を作らなくちゃいけなくて。
Okay, I get it. Japanese doesn't always use pronouns, but intentionally leaving them out to make the translation sound bad is cheating. Fine, I'll add the pronoun. I'll even add a the for good measure.
すみません。今急ぎで会議の資料を作らなくちゃいけなくて。
You're still making it sound bad on purpose. No, I'm translating it literally. I'm keeping it as close to the original Japanese as possible, so the fans won't miss a single moment of the dialogue. You get the gist of what she's saying, don't you? Well, yeah, cool, but let's move on to the next line. Well, not only did the translator leave out the san, cardinal sin, but they changed the name. It's washimi, not eaglet, so we'll fix that. Okashi means sweets. Taberu is a verb which means to eat, so literally that means... Cool, so on to the next line. Okay, danna means master or sir. Jikka, if you break it down to its kanji, it literally means true house, but I have a feeling you don't want it to be that literal, so we're gonna go with its actual meaning, which means parents' house or family house. Meibutsu means specialty. Nano doesn't really have a meaning on its own, but if you end a sentence with it, it means that you are explaining something rather than making a statement. So we'll be sure to include that nuance and...
Whoa, hold on a minute. Sure, danna does mean master, but she's using that word to talk about her husband, so it shouldn't be translated as master. That's sexist.
But that's literally what she's saying. And come on, most anime fans are familiar with Japanese culture and would know that shujin and danna, while they do mean master, are also words for husband. It's not sexist, it's just their culture. And by leaving it translated as master, we're giving people the opportunity to learn more about Japanese culture.
But it is sexist, and a lot of people aren't going to have the right context to understand the nuance.
Good point. Okay then, I'll just add a translator's note on the screen.
I couldn't read all that.
Just pause the screen.
Yeah, but by the time I found the pause
If
button...
you want your translations to be as literal and as thorough as possible, you might as well get used to watching anime with your finger hovering over the pause button. You don't want to miss all those sign translations and lengthy translator notes, do you?
Well, no, I just think...
Cool, let's move on. Retsuko, san. Check. Mo is a particle that means also or to, and we already established earlier that taberu means to eat, so we'll fix that. Oh, right, sorry. Pronouns.
Will you also eat? That sounds really weird.
But it's literally what she's asking.
But she clearly means, do you want to eat some too?
Ah, but literally in Japanese, that would be, anata mo hitokuchi tabemasen ka? Well, yes, there are many different ways of asking the same thing. I'm just trying to stick as close to the original Japanese as possible. It's a great way for fans to learn the language. Anyway, moving on. E means good, and as I said earlier, desu doesn't really mean anything, but it's kind of close to is. So what she's literally saying here is,
Wouldn't that be more like I'm good? Remember, you can use pronouns.
Good catch. I'm good. While that can mean in English that someone is virtuous or moral, it is also slang for no thanks. So that actually works really well as a translation that's both literal and still conveys the original meaning.
Wait, so I was right?
I mean, someone could still misinterpret I'm good as I'm a good person, rather than no thanks, but yes, your literal translation worked. Okay, next line. Okay, this is mostly a repeat of a former line, only instead of using ko, we're using oikko, which means nephew, so literally translated that would be. Okay, and the next two lines are repeats, so let's just go ahead and use the fixed translations from earlier. And the next line. Okay, omoshiroi means interesting, but it also means funny. So it's Retsuko-chan, funny. And we'll add some pronouns. Couldn't make that one look bad, could ya? And now on to the song. Songs are always really fun to translate. Often a lot of ambiguity, so let's keep it as literal as possible so we can really get the meaning. Damatte is the te form of the verb damaru, which means to be quiet. So as I explained earlier, if you're using a hanging te form of a verb, it usually means there's more to follow. So and usually simulates that. So be quiet and ... Shigoto means work, and shiro is the imperative form of to do, so shigoto shiro means do work. So the literal subtitles would be, what? I mean, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Be quiet and do work! And I've seen damatte subbed as shut up before. Well, those subs weren't literal then.
Yeah, but I'm used to
You're used to subs that aren't entirely literal, right? Isn't that the point? Do you wish your subs were more literal? I'm trying to give you what you want here.
Yeah, but... Hey, don't cut me off.
Oh, that's very mature.
Shaberu
means to talk, and if you add a na to the end of it, it becomes the command, don't talk. Natsuku means to latch onto someone. Joshikosei means female high school student. And the ka at the end turns it into a question. Toshi means age, and kangaero is the imperative form of the verb kangaeru, which means to think. So, literally... is that? Literal enough for you? What's wrong? Finally ready to admit that as a professional anime translator, I just might know a little more than you about how to translate anime? Don't feel bad, I used to be in your shoes. When I was a young weeb, I was just as ignorant about the Japanese language and yet just as smug and condescending to professionals as you were. Don't worry, you'll understand when you're older. Well, actually, uze is a slangy version of the word uzai, which itself is slangy and it means really loud and annoying. So she's not saying buzz off right here. That would be a localization, not a literal translation. What she's really saying is,
悪い人じゃないんだけどね。やったー！あなたの一番！
and I have to have a worse accent than that.
やったー！あなたは一番！
No, that's correct grammar, damn it. Okay, bad grammar, bad accent. Got it.
I'm not wearing pants.
Okay, I'm gonna sip my tea. That's actually water. I'm such a fraud. I just had a cup of tea before I did this, so I didn't, and I'm like, it's too late in the day. If I have tea, I'll like be awake all night.